Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm RaeKrystine. If you are new here, thank you, welcome. Please make sure to hit the red subscribe button. I do videos on curvy trends, lifestyle, mom stuff. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button to receive notifications of any upcoming videos I have. In today's video, I have my hubby with me, and we're going to talk about our trip to Las Vegas during a pandemic. So I know a lot of you are probably wondering, like, Vegas is probably the only thing to do. So how was our experience? What did we do? Was it like any of our other trips to Las Vegas? So we're going to touch on those things. So go ahead and stay tuned. We just got our slices of pizza from Secret Pizza. This is pepperoni sausage meatball. Awesome. So excited. Alright, here we go. These are our sidebars. Last time we had these was in March. Everything closed. How is it?
Ooh, that's good. You made a good sidebar.
Yum. Our cocktail for today. We didn't give an update on the Secret Pizza and kind of how we felt about it. We decided we would rate it like a 3. Like, if there was other options, we definitely...
3 out of what?
3 out of 5. If there was other options, we definitely would eat at other pizza places. Like, I don't know if the hype just made it seem like it was going to be so amazing.
It was good price pizza.
Good price, yeah.
Yeah, just if we had a Grimaldi's option or the pizza place in New York,
Yes.
New York, we'd go that way.
Yeah. Even the MGM pizza place is really good.
Oh yeah,
I do like that.
Yeah, Bonanza or something.
Yeah, it just like, I don't know if it was the pizza had sat out and then they reheated it. Meh.
I think it's more the excitement of finding secret pizza.
Yeah, it did take us a little bit to find it.
That's why it's so popular. Yeah, it's 3 out of 5.
We're still hungry. It's 9:20 at night, so we have to find
Nacho Daddy.
He says Nacho Daddy. I think it's too far. We'll keep you posted. We're gonna try Nacho Daddy. There's a wait. Briefly. Also is
5 minutes, actually. Not bad.
10:19 at night.
Actually, they're pretty dead, he said.
Yeah. We'll let you know how it is. Good morning! Today is Friday. It is our first full day in Las Vegas. And I'm so excited. So last night we went to Nacho Daddy, which I talked about, but we did not kind of give you our opinion on what we thought. So I don't know if we're just being super picky or the people that we follow on YouTube just don't have the same palate as we do, but we were not impressed with Nacho Daddy at all. There's definitely some things like, the cleanliness was questionable. We saw our waitress like bussing tables, but not sanitizing her hands or washing her hands and then bringing us our cups of water. She then took my water cup to the machine and refilled it and brought it back. So that kind of made me uncomfortable. And the nachos, we got the buffalo wing nachos. They were just okay. I don't know, it just wasn't like, we wouldn't come back, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So that was our kind of review on Nacho Daddy. Now, this morning we're gonna try Salt and Ivy at Aria and check that place out, and we'll let you guys know how that goes. But as far as today's plans, we're gonna show you kind of like a few of our favorite things to do while we're here in Vegas, and hopefully you'll check them out when you come too. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I ordered the mimosa with fresh orange juice, and he ordered a strawberry Bellini. The first impression so far is this mimosa was $12 and you can't even fill the glass. Over here we have the chicken and waffles.
Special honey syrup.
Yeah, spicy honey syrup. I got the Eggs Benedict hash brown. We'll let you know how it is. Okay, we are at Wolfgang Sauce Bar and Grill. We have the linguine, clams, garlic bread, and I got the pub burger and fries.
Oh, that's the highest one. That's the highest
yeah.
one. What? You don't want to pay out early.
Okay, more grandpas.
Damn it.
What kind of grandpa was that?
It's okay, later on it'll get it.
Okay, okay.
More grandpa. This is terrible.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting a little more. A little more grandpa. $3.59. Oh my god.
This is terrible.
Bad moment. Maybe we'll pick up though. Roy said you wanted to pay out and then.
Here it comes!
Come on, grandpa! Stop! Okay, that's all the way across.
Okay. Oh my god. That's a good one.
If they will come up. Yes! Yes!
Oh, that's a good one.
There we go, finally.
It was only $15.
I can get back to 100, we're out.
That's a good one.
You would think so. You never know with this game.
Yeah.
Jesus, love. That's bad. I might catch up.
So in that last clip that you just saw, that was us at the restaurant Lemongrass at the Aria. That is actually in the resort. While we were there, we really enjoyed that place. I would say that they were very clean. The food was great. Really great customer service that we had. I would definitely recommend that place as far as like what the precautions they were taking and how that was going.
Yep, they did a good job. They social distance every other table or whatnot, and it just seemed very clean. And they were just very attentive. They brought us their waters. Promptly refilled our waters without asking. Things of that you look for in a typical, fine dining experience.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of safety precautions, we felt very clean. Masks were
Being
actually
worn by the waitstaff
Yep,
and
they
the
were-
bussers.
and they were expected to wear until you sat down to where you were eating, basically. So.
And they had a separate, like the waitress didn't clean off your table, the busser actually came and cleaned off your table. For example, when we were at Nacho Daddy, we witnessed our waitress cleaning off like beer bottles and touching the tops of them, and then she would come over and refill our water glasses, and that was not comfortable.
She brought our food out too at one point, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yep. It just wasn't, that part wasn't a really good experience, but Lemongrass we had a great experience with. One of the things that we noticed on our trip to Las Vegas was that if you ate at a place that wasn't really a part of a resort. So let's say like Nacho Daddy, for example, or if you were to go to Taco Bell, those places, whenever we would walk by and look, they were not practicing social distancing at all. People didn't have masks on. It was very concerning. So we found that during our trip, when we ate at the restaurants at the resorts, the precautions that they took were way better than what you would see on the strip.
Yeah, you mentioned Taco Bell, and I remember it seemed like there was a live DJ at one point. I've never seen a Taco Bell like that. And it was an all party.
We did go to the Link Promenade, and we ate at Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips. That was called Fish and Chips. Now that experience was really good. However, they didn't really have very much room to dine in. So that's something to consider when you're looking for places to eat. They have limited capacity, so you're gonna need a reservation, or if it's a walk-in like In-N-Out or the Fish and Chip place, it's hard to find a spot to sit down and eat. Now they did have some like there's like a water fountain thing in the middle there where people were kind of circling around eating. But you gotta think like those things aren't sanitized constantly. We did get lucky and got a little table in the corner at the Fish and Chips place, and I did bring like sanitizing wipes with me, so I just like wiped it down real quick. But that's something to consider too, is there's not many places for you to sit down and eat when you're in like that Link Promenade area.
Yeah, at the time we went, things had started to open in terms of restaurants, so you had more options. I would say it's probably close to 60-40, 50-50, I don't know, in terms of restaurants open, restaurants closed, so it definitely caused a demand in terms of reservations. So in Vegas, for those finer dining, any of those more popular restaurants, you would look to make a reservation, even so more now during this trip, because it's very limited. I remember we had walked by a Mexican restaurant, and they had said it was a 60-minute wait, hour to 2 hour wait for a walk-in. It was just because at that time in Aria there was just nothing else open. It was only late night dining. So just plan on that, even more so if you didn't before, that with 50% capacity, less capacity in restaurants, reservations are going to be huge. And it's as simple, and we'll probably get to it later, as simple as doing the scan. They offer that QR code scan, not only for the menus, but for reservations as well, for convenience. So.
And we made reservations for the Salt and Ivy breakfast place, and we actually made it same day. So as soon as we woke up, before we got ready, we went ahead and made the reservation online. So there is convenient ways to do that. It wasn't like we planned this like a week before we went, like we were able to get same day reservations. However, we did go during 4th of July weekend. So on the 4th of July, we had called all the places in the restaurant or in the resort that were open, and the only one we could get was Lemongrass, and that was at 10:30 at night. So we still took it though. We still went at 10:30 at night, and it was still pretty busy. There's still quite a bit of people in there. So that would be our recommendation, to make sure you make some type of reservation or kind of plan out what you're gonna do, because you're going up against a lot of other people doing the same thing.
Yeah, and just a note, there was still no buffets. There was the Wynn buffet, which we didn't venture down to. Obviously, you'll need a reservation for that, because that's the closest buffet experience you're going to get. Other than, I think there's a brunch buffet. What was that one called? We didn't go that way.
Wicked Spoon.
Wicked Spoon, yeah. We didn't make it our way either, but...
That's because the Cosmo, we'll get into that, but the Cosmo was very questionable.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice, figuratively with the Cosmo. But yeah, so in terms of buffets, at the time we went, they weren't open, those two options. And so if you're looking for reservations for buffet, those would probably be well in advance. I wouldn't roll the dice with waiting too long on those ones.
Yeah. So a lot of people, and even us, had some questions about the crowd situation. How crowded was it? So we went, like I said, during 4th of July weekend, and when you're in the resorts, it was like, I would say medium. It wouldn't be as packed as it would be during like our typical, Pac-12 weekend or Thanksgiving weekend.
Or a convention or something.
Or a convention.
Big fight.
Yeah, it wasn't that crowded, and even when you were walking around on the strip, like, yeah, there'd be some people in front of you, but it wasn't to where you were like crossing the street and you're all, you know, really tight knit. Most people did respect the 6-foot rule. I would say most. We did run into a few that were just like right on top of us sometimes. We did walk up and down the strip. Oh, when we went through the Cosmo, okay, so let's get into the Cosmo. The Cosmo, I don't think that well, I know they don't practice social distancing at all. They did not have every other slot machine turned off, or even a chair missing. It was very crowded and everybody was walking through there. They had like a little bar / DJ going on, and there was a line to get in that was like in the walkway.
I haven't seen, it looked like Old Vegas, I guess, the closest thing I can explain to how the Cosmo was. And it was just, to your point, it was almost a nightclub atmosphere.
So when we went, at this point in time, masks were mandatory, except for when you're outside. When you're outside, it was a free game. But we still saw a lot of people outside that still had masks on. And then when we would walk through the resorts, we would see security at the front telling people, like, you need to have a mask, you need to have a mask. So that was reassuring.
I think the only thing so you're right, the mask they did a good job. The only thing you know, if you're pro-mask, whatever, you're against masks, whatever the case be, there were quite a few individuals who would wear the mask on like an ear, or they would wear it under their chin.
Or their nose wasn't covered.
Or their nose or the cover. Sometimes there's instances where the mouth wasn't covered. They had their mask on, if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, it was, again, if they're pro-mask, against mask, I also will say that because there was a lot of smoking still in casinos, I think the only casino that's not even open yet that's going to prohibit smoking will be Park MGM, was the rumor. But all the other casinos were allowing smoking, so you'll see kind of the excuse that people were smoking, and that's why they kept the mask down, as well as, of course, you're in Vegas, a big drinking opportunity. So with people drinking, you'd see a mask down quite a bit too. So while the measures were there, it still kind of goes back to you as a person to make sure you're protecting yourself if you're concerned, because you can't control what others are doing, whether it's drinking or they're smoking or gambling or respecting the mask or respecting social distancing. You can really don't control yourself, and that is something that we definitely focus on in terms of how we approach it.
Mask and a lot of sanitizer. Now, for me, like, with it being so hot out, when I was wearing my mask outside, like, there were times when I'd be like, oh my God, I just want some fresh air. When we went so basically when we left the airport, when we walked into our airport here in our hometown, we had the mask on. And then the whole flight, we had the mask on. That was only an hour flight. So the whole flight, we had our mask on. Then as we're walking through the airport, we have our mask on. Then we get into the Uber and we have our mask on. And then we get into the hotel and we have our mask. There was a point where we were like, I just want some air, like just some fresh air. So that was kind of like I don't want to call it like a turn off, but it was just kind of annoying. But we still followed the rules and did, you know, what we needed to do. Another thing that we noticed is that we had no shortage of hand sanitizer. There was definitely plenty throughout the strip, in the hotels. Pretty much anytime you walked in somewhere, within a few steps would be a hand sanitizer, and it was like refilled constantly because we never had an issue with that. We also saw a lot of people cleaning down the machines. The maid service, I didn't talk about that. So the maid service was kind of unique. When we first walked in, there was like a note there that said how to get room service. Basically, they will not clean your room if you're there up to 4 days. On the 4th day, they'll clean your room. If you want your room cleaned, you have to put on the service light to let them know that you want it to be cleaned. We did put it on the first day, put the service light on, and then nobody came. So we just decided, man, it's okay. We just called down and got some more towels and whatever it was that we needed, and it didn't really bother us. Maybe to some people it would bother them not having their room clean, but we didn't have any issues with that. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about gameplay. So I know not everyone gambles, but some of you that are watching might want to have some questions about how the gambling was. The tightest slot machines I've ever experienced, number one, in all of Vegas. That was kind of brutal. And then with the blackjack tables, you know, you're limited to 3 people at a blackjack table. So then it you know, reduces your odds as far as how well you're gonna do, just because if you have more people playing against a dealer, it's kind of a benefit having more people. One of the things that we really liked about playing blackjack and enjoy about playing blackjack is meeting other people at the table. So you have these plastic dividers on each side of you, and then a plastic one in the front facing the dealer. You have a little area where you can put your chips and, you know, tell them what you want to do using your hand gestures. But as far as like being able to talk to the other people at the table, it was hard to hear them. They have their mask on too. So it's not like we really, during the whole trip, met any other couple that we got to hang out with. And that was something that we've experienced in the past, you know, is we would meet new people and have fun with them, whether it was at the pool, in the elevator, at a blackjack table, slots, whatever. And, you know, it was kind of a weird vibe because nobody really even talked to you.
Yeah, it was definitely a quarantine vibe, like, are you sick?
Yeah.
But yeah, blackjack had 3 dividers between all. I think craps was 6, if I remember correctly. And some casinos, you know, hotels didn't have dividers. I think there were instances where we would even try to talk to each other, or we would try to interact with someone next to us, and it's very hard to do with a mask on. I'm a lip reader, so especially when you have music blaring and there's, you know, a lot of excitement and crowd noise in the background, I gotta be able to see what you're saying. Even like when the dealer, we couldn't read.
Yeah, we couldn't understand
or
hear what the dealer was saying to us, especially if they had an accent. I noticed I really had a hard time hearing them. Like even the lady at the check-in desk, I had a hard time hearing her because I couldn't read her lips and I couldn't really understand with her accent. So that was some of the things that we ran into. Drink service at the table games was really good. Slot games, not so much. Not anyone even really came over to us. I don't think one time, maybe twice.
You would see, they have a presence, you'd see the waiters or waitresses on the floor, but it seems like there was instances where they're trying to avoid. I don't know if they were trying to avoid, or if they were just, I don't know what it was. It was a different feel. I would see them. They wouldn't really come your way. You had to instances kind of chase them down, which I saw we had done once or twice, but I also saw others doing I saw one person actually run down the casino floor to get the waitress. But
and the limits were really high. So it was $15 to play blackjack.
Minimum.
And that was pretty much when we walked to all the casinos, like even at Harrah's and Link, and it was $15 to play craps. I mean, typically we see between $5 and $10. $5 during the day on a non-weekend and $10 on the weekend. And it was, so that was kind of a turn off as far as gambling, because it just seemed like our money would go really fast.
Yeah, if you're like the high stakes, 15 is definitely the kind of the base point right now in Vegas. Again, it was a holiday weekend. Maybe it goes down to 10 during the weekdays or whatnot. We did catch a few 10 early on Thursday, but from there on out it was 15. You know, and maybe Vegas is playing a little catch up or whatnot. Obviously, holiday weekend, is trying to pull a little more money in. But yeah, the gambling experience is different. If you're a big craps player, you know, around the craps table you get generally a lot of excitement. You know, you're elbow to elbow with people, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, high-fiving, you know, you couldn't do any of that.
You're blowing on the dice. You can't, obviously, you don't want to be doing stuff like that. Talking to things, you know, talking to dice and stuff, they did do a great job sanitizing. Like for craps, for example, obviously you have different rollers, but they had a separate set of dice that were being sanitized and cleaned as the other dice were being played, and when they switched them out on the next thrower. When the dice went off the table, though, it didn't see them switch out the dice.
If the person yelled same dice, they didn't sanitize it. Oh, no, they didn't. I don't
they
think
might
they
have.
did.
They checked it out, maybe wiped it down, but obviously a lot of people are superstitious and keep same dice. If you're one thing I will say is chips were not being cleaned in front of us that we caught at Aria. However, when we went to Caesars, we saw them
like buckets,
big buckets of chips, and they would pour it on this white rag, and they were sanitized. So your cleanliness in terms of, well, actually your gambling experience varied by hotel, but the limits were pretty similar across the board at the major resorts.
Now, if you're not a big gambler and you're wondering about the pool experience, so like I said earlier in the video, we stayed at Aria. So we went to the pool on Friday, so this would have been July 3rd. And we were actually really impressed. We were able to get chairs. We didn't make any type of cabana reservations or anything like that. So we did get 2 chairs together, and they were social distanced apart. And then in the pool, it was very no one even really said anything. It was just kind of like known that you needed a social distance. So people were kind of like in their own little groups, whoever they came with or hanging out, and kind of kept to themselves. And again, that was kind of weird because we've met people at the pool before and, you know, had a good time and chatted up with them. So that was a little different, but we still enjoyed it. Drink service was still flowing.
Yes.
There was a waitress going around asking if you wanted more drinks. So, and we saw a lot of what I would assume manager presence. There's a lot of guys in suits walking around and kind of talking with the guest. So that was a good experience for us.
Yep, the pool was enjoyable. It was hot. Not the pool water, but obviously Vegas is hot. The pool was very refreshing.
And then when we were leaving, we wanted to kind of touch base on our experience overall with the Uber. If you are going to use Uber right now, it is extremely limited the number of cars that are working.
Lyft, yeah.
Uber or Lyft. We had like probably up to a 20 to 30 minute wait for every Uber we got. So that was really frustrating. So if you're planning on leaving or you have a flight, don't think that you're gonna walk down to the pickup, order your Uber in 5 minutes, it's gonna be there. You need to plan accordingly. And we kind of had heard that before we went, so we were kind of prepared.
The check-in process. So, same deal. Plexiglass everywhere, masks everywhere. At Aria specifically, we're going to talk through. Do you have your regular check-in line? As you're checking in, if you're checking in with an actual associate at the desk, there's a medical professional there with a. At Aria, it was like a little gun, a temperature gun. I forgot it's kind of a technical term. It's like an EMT though, and he or she takes your temperature. Once you're clear, they say it takes maybe 5 seconds, and they point it right at your head. It kind of looks weird because you're going cross-eyed. But then once they wave you on, if you are successful. I didn't catch anyone not pass. I really wasn't looking for it. What the most interesting thing about that was, though, they only do it if you're going to check in with an actual associate. If you were doing mobile check-in, they weren't taking your temperature, as well as if you were just walking in to play the casino, no temperature. So
that was kind of concerning to us because we're like, okay, so you're saying that you're taking everyone's temperature as a safety precaution coming in, and then we get there and it's only the people that are going through the line. We see people at the mobile check-in, and actually I did it on my phone, and it already gave me my digital room key and everything, so I didn't even have to go to the mobile desk. Now we wanted to upgrade, of course.
Yes.
But so that's why we went and saw the associate. But you got to think of all these people that are getting around these little rules. And so when we left out of the Las Vegas airport, I will say we were kind of bummed to see what safety precautions they were taking. We went through the TSA line. I believe the person who took the TSA worker had their mask down as he was like instructing people what to do. So that was kind of like, well, what's the point? You know, you're running into thousands of people a day being a TSA worker, and you don't even have your mask on properly. Then as we were, walking through, we saw just lines of people at some of the restaurants there, not social distancing, I mean, right next to each other. That was kind of different coming from our airport, where there is big signs on the floor to social distance, even getting onto the airplane. And a lot of people followed those. So kind of kudos to our local airport for doing a really good job on that. Las Vegas was just a mess.
Yeah, it's great job. Our local airport's obviously a smaller, not on the same scope as the Las Vegas airport, but
then the Southwest lady was calling the groups to come up. So if you've ever flown Southwest, you know that they have like numbers 1 through 40 on one side and 1 through whatever on the other side. So they're not doing that, they're just doing groups of 10. So they would call, A 1 through 10. Well, then all the people would just like congregate at the front, trying to get in there to scan their ticket. It was very like, okay, like slow down, like make sure you're backing up.
Yeah, everyone was typical airport, but
Yeah.
on the actual flight though, I think Southwest in general did a good job.
Yeah.
To leave the middle seat open unless you're flying together. You can of course sit next to each other. They offered snack service. It was just a little packet of peanuts or pretzels
And
and
some
whatnot,
water.
and some water, which of course always was optional. We had a relatively short flight, so not as much a concern flying. I know some people have a lot of questions about the safety and really what it looks like to fly. We felt comfortable to flying. Everyone was required to wear masks while on there. On our trip back, actually, we had a really cool captain who spent some time just joking with everyone and kind of making the mask a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah. It was nice to see him kind of come out of the cockpit and say, you know, hey, please respect other people and wear your mask, and that was kind of nice. And I mean, overall, like, what would you say? Overall, how was our experience? Would we go back again? I guess is the ultimate question. I would go back, and I say that kind of hesitantly, I guess. I still had a good time. Was it the same Vegas that we've experienced in the past? No, not at all. But considering that we're stuck in our house during the pandemic with not much to do, and that being really our only option to kind of have fun, I think as long as you practice social distancing and you take the proper precautions, you can still have a really great time. So to get out, I would say, yeah, go for it, give it a shot. That's my 2 cents.
Yes, so for me, obviously it's not the same old Vegas. You know, we always call Vegas our second home. We do love Vegas. So when we saw the reopening measures, we were there when it closed and we were there when it opened. So when we saw those reopening measures, you know, we did our research. We got ourselves hyped by watching some videos, see what it's like, get an idea of what we wanted to do there. But overall, I would absolutely go back. It's you know, temper your expectations. It's not the same Vegas, but it's not that you can't make it your own fun experience. Things will be different, but you just kind of go in with the expectation that they are trying to social distance, and this is what they're trying to do to get back to a point where Vegas is completely open, which may be a year, months to a year or 2 years down the road. But I would absolutely go back. I do and did enjoy our time and did enjoy, you know, what the resorts were doing. There were aspects where I did feel completely safe. I think what we talked about earlier and we keep touching on is you just really gotta, the things are in place to be successful. It's just us as individuals. It's our responsibility to implement them or not implement them if that's your thing. If you want Vegas to be just how it is, and you know, this isn't a video to talk to one side or the other. It's just, that's our experience. We made sure we took care of ourselves in Vegas, you know, going to Vegas, in Vegas, getting back from Vegas as well, and the things that we did when we returned as well, because of course we were traveling.
I would love to hear if you guys have any questions about anything on our trip, or if you want to know more, there's something that maybe we didn't cover, go ahead and put that in the comments below and I will address those. We did not go to Fremont Street, so I can't really give you any feedback on that, but thank you so much for watching and you know, going along with us on our first Vegas trip during the pandemic.
First but not last.
Yeah, not the last.
Not the last.
So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to get notification of any upcoming videos that we have. And thank you to my special guest, Hubby. All right, bye.
Bye.